Hello, welcome to Horizons, episode 57 review, and if you like the history cast in Scarlet and Violet, you like this one. And trust me, I like those, so this episode is a banger for sure. And we're starting off with the Rising Volt Tack with treating the kids to meal to celebrate their progress. It feels like old times, it's awesome. And Liko feels so much more confident too, telling Ola she's happy to be all back together, and that the next time they're all together after this, all the kids will pass the Terrastal course. Ain't that awesome hearing Liko talk like that? She's so sure the three of them, have it, and hearing that coming out of Liko, rather than, Roy, is such a great treat. Ola says that Bravest Sagi is almost done, so I take that as Terrastal debut won't be too much longer. Frieda also gets to display his signature, "Didn't I tell you, trait?" as he's coming to the school with the kids so they can talk with Gita and Clavel, and they inquire about Terrapagos, with Terrapagos shocking the both of them, as it makes itself known, so they have no choice but to spill the beans really. Frieda wants to ask because of Terrapagos' history in Paldea, and that's where we get to find records of two of its forms, a base form and a Terrastal form. Nothing that we don't know from playing the games, but it's cool seeing Liko connect with dots to Terrapagos fighting against Rayquaza. And also seeing how Clavel and Gita respond to Terrapagos, because it's thought to be connected to Terrastal. It's a huge thing in Paldea. So we're seeing this crazy rare Pokemon for the first time. It makes it actually feel legendary. And that's when we get Gita also bringing up Area Zero, where there were reported sites of Terrapagos in the Scarlet book, getting Dot to take it out when they look at the Stellar Form drawing. Gita hasn't heard of Rakua as the kids mention it, and just to spoil things further ahead, it seems that Rakua is not in Paldea at all. Tree does seem to give a theory that Area Zero is Rakua, which, I'm pretty good with that. Roy gets the idea that Area Zero will have a lead at least, and wants to go. Clavel mentions that an accident that makes Century hard has happened, and that has to be Sada, right? We know from last episode that Paradox Pokemon were mentioned, and really the existence of the Scarlet book likely proves that Koraidon exists in this continuity. It had to be whatever she did with the time machine as the accident, which hopefully we'll get to see Arven showing up. But anyway, we get a promise of an Area Zero expedition, so I'm excited regardless. Especially because Gita will be tagging along, so that means Glimmer action for me. As Liko has doubts about not knowing much about Terrapagos, Raifort introduces herself, and she assists the group in finding out more, while they do some fieldwork to look for some treasure. She's got a fun personality, as she's heard everything that they're chasing, and it makes her curious to know more. She knows that about Rakua from a vague history book, but has to wait as a Gimmighoul is collecting coins. Freed says they're rare, and Roy says he'll catch it, but it runs, which is sad. Zoroark gets Raifort a coin, and we get coin hunting, which does feel like a reason to display some Paldea Pokemon, like a Charcadet, which looks adorable with this art style, and a Nacli. Though the ruins that they go into kind of helps Raifort illustrate a nice point later on. Roy is absolutely cooked with the coin collection, and at Raifort's request they head up to the top of a watchtower. We even get a nice little callback to how Kilowattrel used to live on one. So Roy and his Pokemon fly up, and Raifort makes a really great point how objects from history can still be a part of the present, by helping people today make their own stories. It's such a great point, and you can totally understand why someone who's passionate about history has that unique perspective. It's quite different, it's quite nice, I really like that. At the top of a watchtower they overlook the ruins of Paldea, but also the Gimmighoul from earlier has a chest, where Roy happily dispenses coins and basically get confirmation that Roy's possessed to do it. I can't lie, I was hoping for a catch here, but maybe it's not the right sort of episode for that. So here's where Raifort tells us what she knows. Rakua is beyond Paldea and was an absolute paradise. There's a shining pink energy that Fried connects to Rakurium. She trusts the Rising Volt Tack was here and gets him to imagine Paldea and what it was like in the past. Liko places herself imagining Lucius and Terrastal form Terrapagos overlooking a built-up civilization, before being entrusted by Raifort to find Rakua. And that's it for our adventures with Raifort. It's a fun little diversion giving the kids an appreciation for what they're really chasing. Moving on, the implementation tests are coming up with the next set of gym battles. It's going to be 2v2, which has a focus on switching and strategic battling, paired with right use of terrestrialization. So I'm very excited for that. Kilowattrel less so, but the secondary Pokemon have really needed some proper action, and I reckon all of them will get the chance to be terrestrialized, especially in Tinkertink's case because I imagine it will need the power boost more than Quaxley will. We get to finish off with Liko feeling eager to learn more about Terrapagos, and that Liko's up against Crucia, Dot's against Larry, and Roy's against Rhyme. And with a Rising Volt Tack behind sign, the kids move on to Medali as it's the closest. Overall, it's a fun episode that I think really serves more as a setup for things to come rather than an episode being filled with its own developments. After all, going to Area Zero will be amazing, but we're still going to have to wait for that. But you know what, that's absolutely fine. It's really nice to see the kids get a real taste and appreciation for history and understanding what they're pursuing and how those stories become a part of theirs. It's a nice little episode with a fun, what feels like character of the day with Raifort. I've got no complaints really.